want to welcome everybody that is watching, and it's time to get to the bookkeeping side to do your accounting. Some of those have been struggling. Please go look at my other videos that I've created. And you might be saying, but Esther, why am I doing this? The reason for this is because I need to leave a legacy. A legacy is not just to do with my money, my car, my house, my investments. No. Leaving a legacy is to do something for the next generation, not just your children, but the next generation. Even your children can benefit from your knowledge as well. Some of your children don't even know what you're doing. So this is what I just want to share with you. You will go back and you will see my other videos is about the Debtors Ledger, the Creditors Ledger, and the cash book, which is also another ledger. So I'm going to bring it all together. The cash book is your bank, where you have all your payments and you have all your receipts, all the money coming in, all the money going out. And remember what I taught you, the bank is the most important. So I'm just going to bring a bigger vision to you now, and more than before, so that you have the foundation in your head so you can understand. Just remember, when you're doing any accounting, even at school, remember that this you can use in your business. It doesn't matter what I do. You will see I've got another channel as well, and you can go look at it. I'll link on the end of these. It's to do with the spiritual side, where we're going to, what's happening in our lives, and how God wants to actually make us become better people by being more like Him. We can't be Him, but we're His children. So I am a Christian. I love Jesus very much. I believe in the Judeo-Christian way. So the Old Testament and the New Testament is relevant to my life. And because I love Him, this is why I do what I do. So I'm just going to share with you. Go look at my other videos and you'll get more information. So this will make more sense. So I'm just going to bring you to what we've been busy with. It's been with a bank. All your payments went out and all your receipts came in. If this is not big writing for you, please just excuse me. I've got a lot that I must put on here, so I'm going to try and condense it. So if you just listen to me, you will then also hear. It's much more important to hear and grasp than to have the fullness of, if you don't see, you can hear. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we worked on the Debtors Ledger. So I'm just going to put the Debtors Ledger here. Remember, this is your clients. This is your customers. They don't pay cash. These are your client that buys an account. And then we have the Creditors Ledger. And I hope you can actually see what I'm doing. If you've been through the other videos, you will see this is where you actually buy all your things on account. So these are your suppliers. Sometimes it's called a supplier or a creditor, or it could be, in this case, a debtor, or you could call this your customer. Remember, this is not your cash customer. I'm not going to focus on the cash customers now. We're going to focus on how this all works together. So before you even receive the money in the bank, you have to make an invoice out. So this is where it starts, and I'm just going to put the T account here, and I'm going to put a T account there. T account means, if you look at the other videos, you need to cross over, meaning you always have a left and a right in accounting. You never have one transaction. You don't have one leg. So if you cross your legs over, it'll make sense to you when I say you need another leg, is because you can't do accounting with just the left leg or just the right leg. You've got to use both your legs, but they have to cross over. So there we go. You have a debit side, it will always stay like that, and you have a credit side, always staying like that on your T accounts. We call them T accounts because it looks like a T, and splitting in the middle, what transactions come in. Remember with the debtor, what I taught you? It starts with a D. So if you're going to say customer, you're going to make a mistake. Rather, in your mind, put a picture of somebody. I love pictures. I will have like a person. Let's think of a person with their arms and maybe their pants, and that's how I like my little pictures, and maybe a little hat on. Okay, let's try the hat story. I'm not a very good drawer, but here we go. So remember, this is a client that comes to you, and let's take a hair salon, for example. They maybe want to do their hair, but they want to pay at the end of the month. Then that would be the person that will buy on account. That's a debtor. Now we look at our supplier. That's where you're going to buy your products from. Or if you have an account with a spaza shop, you go in and you say, I'll pay at the end of the month. Is it okay with you? And they say, it's fine. Take your cool drink, take your whatever. But you're not paying in cash straight away. You're not paying with a credit card. You're not paying with a debit card. No money transaction takes place. Only 30 days later. Say now it's a hair salon or let's use the hair salon as an example. You would then buy all your hair products on a 30-day. Maybe it's a 60-day or maybe it's a 90-day, but your agreement is within that year you will pay them off. Normally it's a 30-day. You can get lenient to a 60-day with people, but they normally only give you about a 30-day, depending on who you're buying your stock from. That's your contract that you will make. Remember what I taught you? Look at the C. So if you're going to say supplier, and you don't link the supplier to the creditor, and you don't say in your mind, don't call it supplier, call it creditor, you will not get this to make your brain understand which side is the debit side and which side is the credit side. Remember, this is a ledger. Inside this ledger, you've got a T account. It has a debit side always on the one side, on your left-hand side of your book, and your credit is always on your right-hand side. Debit on the left-hand side, credit on the right-hand side. Remember, your bank statement from the bank is different. It's on the opposite side because it's crossing legs. When it comes into your bank, it will have payments on the right-hand side, and it will have receipts on the left-hand side. In the bank, you have your T account as well. You with me? So that's money going out is a payment and money coming in. Now, let's see if we can make sense of all of this. Are you following me? If you struggle, just put it on a slow speed. If I'm going too fast for you, there is availability in YouTube to just make it a slower speed. Or if I'm going too slow for you, make it a faster speed, but as long as you gain the knowledge. How does a debtor start? A debtor starts always with a debit balance. How does it start? It starts with an invoice because you never pay them cash. So they say to you, 30 days later, we want our money. If that's 1,000 Rand, they will want the money at the end of the month. So if it started with an invoice, is it in the bank? No, it's not in the bank. Your customer hasn't paid for it yet. So you invoice your customer, out they walk out the door. Now we have a creditor, starting with a C. C for creditor, always giving you the idea which side must it start. A D, a debtor for debit side. Creditor for a C for credit side. I hope that helps you guys to get your stuff right. That's why I say you've got to know your bank. If you know your bank, you know every other account that you're going to work with. If there's somebody that you know that is struggling to understand accounting at school, please send it to them. Doesn't matter what grade they are. This is the foundation that they need to understand, and to make it quicker for them to understand, because they might not have been taught like this. They've been taught in a paraphrase just to study this and study that, but they need to understand the foundations. So if you're going to buy from somebody, say for example you get a hair salon and you go to ABC suppliers, they have got a business and you need the stock from them. So you're going to go and buy and they will give you an invoice of say 500 Rand. What happens? Did we pay it? No, we didn't. So because we didn't pay it, it doesn't go through the bank. Please think of your bank always first. Your bank didn't receive money from a debtor, so it's not in your bank. So no movement works in your bank. You didn't pay the creditor. You didn't pay your supplier, so nothing went through. Now, if you look at this, you say, but Esther, I don't understand. You said the bank has a debit side. I'm just going to try and put this in red here, debit and a credit, so that it makes it easier for you guys to see. And remember how to always have your ledger accounts and every other transaction. To know the left-hand side and the right-hand. Now you say to me, but Esther, I don't understand. He has a receipt on the debit side. Here the debtor is on the left-hand side, but it's not money. I don't understand. And that's what's so interesting, is because we have a ledger here, which is separate like an island, a ledger here, which is separate like an island, a debtors ledger separate like an island, but they work together with the bank. Now it comes to the end of the month, and you say, okay, I need to pay these people because they're phoning me. Before they phone me this month, I'm going to pay my supplier, which is my creditor. So I think to myself, I'm going to pay them the full amount at the end of the month. So in a day's time, you need to pay this. That is when the money goes into the bank. I want you to look very nicely. Where is the money going to? Which side is it going? You see? Let me do that in red. Which side is the money going to? If you know your bank, you know everything else. Which side is your money going to? Somebody tell me. Write a comment at the bottom. It is going to the credit side. But the money came in on the debit side. Don't get confused here. There are different ledgers. This one will start with an invoice on the debit side. This one will start with an invoice on the credit side. And if you have a look, that is your indication. This is going to tell you which side it must be on. And remember, if they ask you a question in your exam, you went and you gave a customer a 30-day account. Remember, customer is a debtor. And then you know which side the invoice must start on. Remember, supplier is somebody, maybe they ask you a question in exams. A supplier you went and bought from, and you bought from them for on a 30 days or 60 day or 90 day. Remember, that will be a creditor. If you remember those things, you'll remember everything. Right, so if I want my customer to pay me and they want to have their hair done again, I'm not going to give them another invoice if they haven't paid me, correct? Okay, so let's see what happens. Then the customer phones up. Let's call this customer Sally. Sally phones. This is Sally's account inside there. She's got an account inside the Debtors Ledger because you have a lot of customers, okay? And I believe you all have. If you start doing business right, and you can't do business without accounting. For the businessman out there, you're just doing operations and you're skipping your bookkeeping, your accounting side, it's wrong. Learn from experience like I had to. And if you're struggling, please give me a call. I love to train business accounting. I will not be able to train or do school accounting because then I need the curriculum. And I've been a teacher. I don't have a problem teaching that, but I don't teach curriculums at the moment because there's one or two different curriculums. Okay, so let's have a look. So the customer says, made an agreement with you. They're only going to pay $950 because it's all they've got in their bank account. And what happens when they pay? It goes to the debit side of the bank. Why does it go to the debit side? Because there's the crossover. There's a credit here, and there it goes to the debit side. Okay, I hope that helps you. Now, I said to you, I promised you I'm going to work on the nominal accounts. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take from my bank. How does the nominal account? Now, nominal account is something that falls away at every month end. What I mean by that is it's an expense or it's an income that comes into my bank as a sale, as income maybe, coming in as a sale, whether it's a debtor that bought on account or it's a cash client. It's called a sale. So I'm just going to put here, let's think how we're going to do it. I want you to see, I'm going to do like a schedule here for you, which will be how your bank will look like. Okay, I hope that will help you a bit. So we're making it a bit bigger. This is what it is, and it's going here. You with me? Okay, let us see. I now have received. Does it make sense to you? This is the bank. I'm just showing you those three now. Now I'm taking the bank and I'm putting it down here so that you can actually see. Let's start with the debtor first. We received 500 Rand from the debtor. Okay, So what happened? Money came in and we called it Sally, and she gave us 950 Rand. Why is it also on the debit side when the debtor is on the debit side of the invoice? It's because you're getting confused. Remember, your bank tells the story of what transaction needed to take place. For example, 950 cash was in the bank and it had to go where? To the credit side. Think nicely. If your bank was, there's the credit and here's the debit. Okay, so there we go. I'm showing you exactly what I showed you here. That's the debit side. We're working on the debit side now. So if I look at this transaction and I say Sally paid 950, but we paid 500 Rand for the stock, so she needs to still owe us 50 Rand at the end of the month. So that is what her account is going to look like. She's got 50 Rand that she still owes us. But if we look at this payment here, we're going to call them ABC, I think we said. We are going to pay them, and we're going to pay them 500 Rand to settle that account. Do you see how it works? Debit side, and we have a credit side. So there we go, credit side. Don't get confused now. I'm using 3 ledgers. This is my 1 ledger that I'm working down. It looks like that for an example, but it looks like this when we do the transactions. Not exactly every single column, but this is how I want to bring it to you to make your brain understand how it all works together. Okay, now this is not a nominal account. This is not a nominal account because it comes from your ledger, your debtors ledger. It comes from your creditors ledger. Why? Because people owe you money. So the account will always have a balance, either a 0 balance or a balance brought forward. So you cannot call it nominal. Nominal is, for example, I've paid my electricity. Am I getting a new bill next month? Yes. Every 30 days I get a new bill. So that is a nominal account. Say now that was 400 Rand. I paid for that. I'm just going to put here next to it nominal. It's good for you to actually understand what is nominal. Nominal means a short-term expense, something that you're paying out. Payment like electricity, you have to still pay it, but at the end of the month it's finished. And then the next month it comes. So you might be paying prepaid electricity. That's a good example. This is how it works in your nominal accounts. Everything that you know you're going to spend this month and the figure is going to change for next month, it goes into your nominal accounts. Everything that you buy, it will go into your nominal account, split it separately, and that is your month end. You will then know how much you spent on all your income and all your expenses. Now you say to me, but Esther, what about a sale? Okay, where would a cash sale take place? A cash sale will take place. You will get money coming in. So say now I had a cash sale. Which side would it be on? We're not looking at a debtor because that's a ledger on its own. We don't put it in there because it's not an account client. It's a cash customer. So these are examples for you to follow. And if you've learned that it goes as a cash account in your ledger, it can still work like that because you can see all your cash customers there. But I'm using this as an example so that you understand where your sales will go. I'm receiving cash here. Please don't get confused between the two of them. I'm working with a bank now. Receipts. I want to show you. Somebody came in by the front door and they paid 300 Rand. And they said they wanted to buy some conditioner from you. And so they gave you 300 Rand and you put it in your till and then it went into the bank. So that cash customer would have paid 300 Rand. What is happening here? You see where I've written it? It's exactly because we're busy in the bank. I'm just using an example. This is your account client that paid you. It went opposite. A cash customer will have a cash sale. I don't have enough space here, but obviously if you look nicely, you would have another transaction here which will say sales. another account, because these are all different accounts. Electricity's account, stationery's account, telephone's account. Let me just go over here, give you a better example. Just going to use the bank. Remember, the bank doesn't look like this. This is just me showing you the ledger so that you can understand it from a point of view with nominal accounts. These are nominal accounts. You find them in your general ledger and you find them on your trial balance. They have a debit and a credit side. So if we looked at, this is the debit side, this is the credit side. If you received cash in, you would receive 300 Rand for a client that walked in, a cash sale. Say now somebody came in and, well, if they, let's use the 300. They bought shampoo, you paid cash, that will be 600 Rand. That's not on account. You paid cash to somebody. For maybe that you wanted a carpet and somebody came in with a nice little fluffy carpet, they were selling it, or a broom. So you wanted to buy something cash, so you bought it cash straight away. These are nominal accounts. Okay, it is something that happens now and it's gone at the end of the month. It doesn't repeat itself. It hasn't got a fixed amount. It doesn't have a balance like the ledger will have a balance. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the general ledger like I explained earlier on. And I'm just going to show you how it will all come together in the general ledger. We have a sales account. And say now we paid cash, let's make it for tea and coffee. Just an example. So my sales account was 300 Rand. So what happens? It's on the debit side. They gave me money. I received money because my money comes in on this side. And I paid out on this side. So that's in and that's out. Right, so then if this is a sales account, I received cash, so my sales account will have sales. Maybe somebody came in the front door and they gave us 300 Rand for something that they really needed. Right, the next one that we've got here is we have the teas and coffee. Let's call that staff meals. So what happened? We paid. So we paid out on the credit side, so it must be paid teas and coffee. Please guys, I'm not giving the full breakdown, I'm just giving you the foundation. Teas and coffee, 600 Rand. You will learn at school how to put them in your columns. I'm not giving you your columns now. I'm teaching you the foundation of why I say you must know your bank. Because if you know your bank, you'll know every other account. Staff meals is a debit side, you see, on the debit side. My sales is on the credit side. Why is it on the credit side? Because I paid it out. In my bank, because I must know my bank. Vitally important to know your bank. And I put it into my staff meals. It's an expense. It's money that went out. Okay. I received money. So cross over, always crossing your legs. Remember I taught you that. And your cash sale, what will happen is this will go to your sales account. Sorry, I've put it there. I do apologize. Sorry, let's just take this out. My eyes are crossing over now as well. You put it over to your sales account. Okay. Make sense? So when you have a look and you see at the end of the month, you have your trial balance, because your trial balance gets made up from all your general ledger accounts. You will see you made a loss. Why? Because 300 from 600 gives you a 300. So we have a loss of 300 Rand. Because why? We didn't get enough income according to our expenses. I hope that helps you. And remember, this is just giving us a balance. You'll see in your trial balance you have a total of 600 Rand. Just so that I can close off there. I hope you can see it. And your loss goes to the debit side, because this is just the balance here. Balance goes forward to say it closes off on the debit side, you've made a loss. And income is on your credit side in your general ledger. So it moves through like that. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, just go back, rewind it, listen to it. Try and understand your bank. If you know your bank, you know every other account. Just going to swing this over. Let's have a look. My bank has a debit, my bank has a credit. So if my bank had a transaction from Sally of 950, where would that start? It would have to start with what did Sally do? Sally came in and she bought an account. So her money would be on the opposite side. If you know the bank, you know every other account. So from Sally's side, it went to the credit side. The debit side in her bank. This is your bank. Debit side of the bank, credit side in there. But it couldn't be money that she received before she had an invoice. She has to have an invoice. Now when you look at your bank, when you actually paid ABC 500 Rand, this side is a credit side in your bank. So if it's a credit side in your bank, it has to be a debit side in your creditors or your supplier. It's on the debit side. Yes, it is. Why? Because it didn't start with a payment. It had to start with an invoice. Always make sure your creditors and your debtors ledger start with an invoice on the right side. The debit is for the invoice to start on the debit side. A creditor with a C means the invoice must start on the credit side. Thank you for your time. Love you guys. Please pass this on to people that need to hear the foundations. And if you're starting a business, this is a good way to start. Thank you. My name is Esther Badenhorst. Enjoy your day. I also have on my other channel on YouTube, like I mentioned earlier, click on the link here below or on the side and go and watch. It can uplift you, it can build you, and it can help you to be a better leader or a better citizen of South Africa. Blessings, love you, bye-bye.